各位记者朋友，大家下。
Friends from the press, welcome to the press conference. The floor is open to questions.
On Gaza, Israel bombed the tents in southern Rafah. What is China's comment on Israel's military actions in Rafah? My second question is, what measures will China take to de-escalate the crisis in the Middle East?
On your first question, China is gravely concerned over Israel's military operation in Rafah and strongly calls on Israel to listen to the overwhelming appeal of the international community and stop attacking Rafah. The protracted Palestinian-Israeli conflict has made the humanitarian situation extremely dire in Gaza. We call on relevant parties to stop the fighting at once, do everything possible to prevent casualties among innocent civilians and prevent an even worse humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza. On your second question, China is committed to promoting talks for peace and easing the situation, promoting the reconciliation and cooperation among countries in the Middle East, and we hope all countries can work for this. Next question, please.
谢谢。迪拜中央卫视记者提问。
China Arab TV. On the occasion of the 20th anniversary of the ministerial meeting of the China Arab States Cooperation Forum, we have seen that China and the Arab world has been developing better and better. By contrast, the U.S. has not received much welcome in the Arab world. My question is, what has China and the U.S. brought to the Arab world?
China and Arab states enjoy traditional friendship and are strategic partners who trust each other. At the first China-Arab States Summit in 2022, the two sides agreed to build a China-Arab community with a shared future in the new era, bringing our relations into the new era of comprehensive in-depth development with joint efforts. Positive progress has been made, and our strategic mutual trust has been deepened. China has established comprehensive strategic partnership with 14 Arab states and the LAS. China facilitated the historic reconciliation between Saudi Arabia and Iran, supported the return of Syria to the LAS, and rendered support to Arab states in strengthening strategic autonomy and seeking strength through unity. Practical cooperation is also deepening. We signed Belt and Road cooperation documents with all 22 Arab states and the LAS. 17 Arab states became members of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and over 200 cooperation projects were implemented by China and Arab states under the framework of BRI. China remains the biggest trading partner of Arab states for consecutive years. I want to say the growth of China-Arab relations brings benefits to people of both sides and is conducive to promoting peace and development in the Middle East and increasing stability in this turbulent world. China will continue to pursue joint cooperation with Arab states, build a more all-dimensional cooperation platform, and open a new chapter and embark on a new journey of the China-Arab States Cooperation Forum. Next question, please.
Thank you, spokesperson. Question from Reuters. Estonia said China has not responded to a 6-month-old request for help with an investigation into a Chinese ship which Estonia suspects cut 2 of its subsea telecoms cables. If this is so, what is the reason China has not responded to that request? And also, is China looking into this matter as well? Thank you.
As far as I'm concerned, China's competent authorities are lawfully examining and handling the case. China will, in accordance with domestic laws and relevant provisions, actively study the request for judicial assistance and stand ready to maintain communication with Estonia.
下一个问题。
Thank you, spokesperson. I'm from Prensa Latina of Cuba. Not long ago, the U.S. government removed Cuba from the list of countries not fully cooperating against terrorism, but still designated as a state person of a sponsor of terrorism. What is your comment?
我们注意到有关报道。
We noted the report. As Cuba's foreign minister said, the United States has just admitted what everybody knows. Cuba cooperates fully with the fight against terrorism. China commends Cuba for its effort to fight terrorism. We firmly oppose the U.S. interference in Cuba's internal affairs under the pretext of counterterrorism and its political suppression and economic sanctions against Cuba. China calls on the U.S. to handle its relations with Cuba in accordance with the purposes and principles of the UN Charter and the basic norms in international relations. Lift all its blockade and sanctions on Cuba, properly solve disputes and differences through dialogue and negotiation, and contribute to improving U.S.-Cuba relations and keeping the Americas peaceful and stable.
下一个问题。
环球时报提问：前不久，美国国务卿布林。
During U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's visit to China, China and the U.S. reached 5 common understandings, including maintaining high-level exchanges and interactions at various levels. Are there any upcoming high-level exchanges or mutual visits at other levels between China and the U.S.? At the invitation of the U.S. side, Vice Minister of Foreign Affairs Ma Zhaoxu will visit the U.S. from May the 30th to June the 2nd, during which he will hold consultations with the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Kurt Campbell and interact and communicate with representatives from various sectors in the U.S.
下一个问题。 还有其他问题吗？
Excuse me. A question from Bloomberg. This is in relation to Foreign Minister Wang Yi telling Yemen's Foreign Minister about the importance of civilian vessels having safe passage through the Red Sea. In relation to that, what does China expect Yemen to do in order to ensure safe passage? So that's the first question. What are the actions that you want the Yemeni side to do? And secondly, more broadly, the crisis has caused shipping prices to soar. Is there something more the Chinese government can do to help Chinese companies who are facing increased shipping costs to export more? Thank you.
感谢你关注王毅外长。
Thank you for your attention to Foreign Minister Wang's meeting with Yemen guests. We have released relevant results on the Red Sea issue. We oppose attacks against civilian ships, and we hope all parties can safeguard the safety of the waters. But the current situation in the Red Sea is a spillover effect of what's happening in Gaza. The pressing need is to safeguard peace and stability in Gaza, and also peace and stability in the Middle East region. Next question, please.
谢谢。前段时间我到。
When I was interviewing in Iraq, I saw many Iraqi people welcome the Chinese people, and they welcome Chinese companies in Iraq. They have seen a future when Chinese companies invest in Iraq. What is your comment on the Chinese investment in Iraq?
感谢你向我介绍伊拉克的情况，我还没有去过。
Thank you for introducing that. I haven't been there. But I feel very happy to hear that, as a principle, China is willing to develop cooperation with Iraq in all fields, and we support our companies in investing in Iraq to jointly contribute to the development of both countries.
Good afternoon. A question from AFP. China's defense minister will travel to Singapore this week for the Shangri-La dialogue. What will he speak about? Will he meet his American counterpart? And what are China's expectations for this dialogue? Thank you.
谢谢你的问题，不过这个问题我建议你向中方的主管部门了解。
Thank you for your question. I refer you to competent authorities of China.
下一个问题。
Thank you, spokesperson. Another question from Reuters. The Philippines president today called new rules outlined by China's Coast Guard that could result in detention of foreigners in the South China Sea. He called it worrisome and also an escalation of the situation. He said that Philippines will use any point of contact with China to stop aggressive actions and allow Filipino fishermen to fish in the South China Sea. Does the ministry have any response to this? Thank you.
中国海警
The regulations are rolled out by China Coast Guard to standardize the administrative law enforcement procedures of Coast Guard agencies and better uphold order at sea. It is consistent with universal practices. Individuals and entities have no need for concern as long as they have not done anything illicit. Let me stress that it is the Philippines, not China, that has escalated the situation and made repeated provocations in the South China Sea. China's door of dialogue and communication with the Philippines remains open, but the key is to show sincerity in dialogue and deliver on the outcomes of dialogue, rather than make repeated provocations and stir up troubles while only talking about dialogue. Next question, please.
还有其他问题吗？
Any more questions?
那好，今天的记者会到此结束，谢谢大家。
That's the end of today's press conference. Thank you for coming.